Alright, what's up everyone? Welcome to another prep update video. We are now inside 1 week out. The first show for this year, NPC Legends Classic in Las Vegas on Valentine's Day this year, February 14th. And we're about 3.5 weeks out of the Arnold Amateur. It's going to be, I think, March 5th, I'm pretty sure, over in Columbus, Ohio. So, little fun fact, February 14th this year, it's actually going to be 10 years to the day of me living here in Arizona, so that's pretty cool. Going to be a fun way to spend Valentine's Day as well as that, important anniversary in my life. Definitely a lot of positive things have happened since I came out here, and with that being said, let's get into it. As always, got to do the YouTube thing. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell, all that good stuff. And as always, remember to work, grow, win. Quick note on that, just because kind of my little tagline thing. It's really not just about bodybuilding. It's really about just life and everything in general. Obviously with bodybuilding, kind of ties into working, growing in the off season, then peeling down, getting ready for a show, and winning a show and everything like that. But really has more to do with how it bleeds into other areas of your life. You put in the work, you grow as a person, you grow as whatever you are at work and your job, for me, father and everything like that. And, you put in the work, you grow as a person, you get better, you improve, and you win at life and everything. So pretty important to me. Hopefully it's important to you. So I might do a little talk about philosophy and things like that. It's kind of one of the many interests that I have as a person. But let's quit wasting time. Let's get into these pictures in this update. So, as always, start with the subjective stuff, health update and biofeedback. Last week was nice and low stress, 4 days of just classroom training. Didn't have to worry about all my work stuff. Didn't really check my work phone at all, which is really nice. This coming week for peak week, I'm entirely off of work. I'm going to be heading up to Vegas on Tuesday. I'm going to be 4 days out and just focusing on nothing but the show. So it's actually Sunday today, 6 days out, pretty low stress, just had a massage, things like that. Gonna do a bit more self-care tomorrow, gonna get a fresh haircut, might get like a pedicure or something like that, who knows. And then obviously getting all my packing and everything done, making sure I got everything ready with me. It's gonna be nice. The host hotel is also the venue for the show, so I'm gonna have everything right there in one place. Bring in pretty much all my food with me, all my clothes and like that. Don't got to worry about packing luggage for a flight or anything like that. I will have to do that for the Arnold, which is going to suck, but for this show, I'm able to control all those variables, which is going to be really, really nice. Overall, with that reduction in stress and, pulling back in cardio, energy levels and fatigue has improved a lot. I have noticed a pretty consistent trend in that when I do have a dip in my energy, it's right around 9 a.m. in the morning every single day. I think that's just kind of where, wake up. I get up around, 5, 6 a.m., 5:30 or so most days. Do my cardio and like that and kind of rush and get everything ready. Don't have time to get tired, then get to work and then kind of relax. And then that's kind of when it hits me like, oh man, sleep was good and everything like that. But that's still pretty early to get up. Don't have a bunch of caffeine in me at that time or anything like that. So I always get through it. Feel just fine by the afternoon, end of the day. So blood work results. I actually just got these back yesterday, the rest of them. Finally got everything back. Overall, things looked pretty good. HDL was a little bit on the low side, but definitely not as low as it usually gets at this stage in the prep with different things that are in. LDL was like 2 points above range, something like that. I'll do a later show or a later video going through all the results or like that. I have no problem being open with that sort of thing. The only thing that I guess was slightly concerning, were my liver values were elevated a pretty good amount. I am going to switch the source I use for my TUDCA, see if that has any benefits, things like that. But There's going to be some alterations and derangements to your blood values, this late in prep with all the things that are in. So it always comes back to normal. I've definitely seen it worse for me, and it's not any crazy number or anything like that, but that was the only thing that's like, hey, this is like actually legitimately out of range. So I'll go through that a little more in depth for a later video. Friday had my last tanning session. That was 8 days out, just trying to give the skin a bit of rest. I have a great base tan. I don't need to keep on getting darker and everything like that. So skincare is really, really important in bodybuilding. That is something that I've really emphasized this prep, actually, is taking better care of my skin. And this is definitely the clearest it's been for a long time. Some people really run into a lot of skin issues with prep. They get all dried out. They get more acne. I'm always the opposite. I think just a matter of being leaner, being drier. Obviously, the diet is super clean, everything like that. I think that goes a long way towards clearer skin. So I'll do a dedicated video on skincare for bodybuilding later, too, because there are some specific things that I've done that have really helped me out. Like I mentioned, had a deep tissue massage today. It actually wasn't all that deep. I normally have it a lot more pressure. I usually tell the masseuse to just beat me up with a ball peen hammer, but she kept it pretty moderate, and I was so relaxed. I actually fell asleep during it, which has never happened for me before. So that was really nice, just being nice and relaxed, super low stress. That just shows where my central nervous system is at this point. I'm nice and relaxed. I'm not all hopped up and everything like that. So that's really what you want, where you want to be at the stage in prep. You want to be just low and slow and not worry about everything. So that's just really a good sign of where stress levels are at. This morning also had one last touch-up posing session with my posing coach, Cody Hornsby. You can check him out, Flex Code Posing, on Instagram. I'll tag him in this video as well. It went really, really well. So definitely saw a lot of improvements with my posing for this prep. I got 2 more sessions that I'll do in between shows, just so I can look and see, hey, how did things actually translate on stage? What went well? What looked good? What did I mess up that I need to keep on working on? Because things are going to look different on stage with how you present it. You're going to forget stuff. You're going to be out of breath, things like that. So that'll be important for between the shows, because obviously Arnold Amateur is going to be a bigger stage, bigger show, and I want to have the absolute best presentation as possible. That's why I've put so much emphasis on like the skincare and things like that I'm talking about, because those things that are entirely within your control with how you present your physique. Is make sure your skin is in good shape, have a good tan, always pay for tanning. Don't try to do it yourself unless you really, really know what you're doing, which chances are you don't. I certainly wouldn't be able to do my own tan, and have your posing in hand. Present the physique the best way you can possible. There's really no sense in doing all this work and all this dieting and all this training just to present it in a really poor fashion on stage. So let's get to some pictures. So this was yesterday's fasted check-in. It was 187.6 pounds. Obviously, we can see conditioning is in really good shape. Low back is nice and tight and everything like that. We got veins pretty much everywhere. We got some pretty strong hardeners in right now, so we can see where things are at. You can also see how tired I am in the morning. This is 5:30 a.m. posing, stuff like that. So got some pretty dumb looking faces here, but we're in really good shape here. You can see the separation of the hamstrings and the hamstring drop from the side. I'm really happy with this look and the posing and everything like that. You can see hamstrings are dug out, glutes are dry, everything like that. Really just it's a culmination of all the work that we've put in. So I'm pretty happy with this look, and we'll talk about diet and things like that, but we're not doing a ton of changes for peak week. We're really not. Just trying to keep things nice and simple and land the plane, come in for a smooth landing. Post-workout pictures. These were from the day before, after a chest, back, and shoulders workout. So obviously, a little bit more pumped up, a little more fullness and size. With that always brings, a tiny bit of loss of detail, not very much. But, I'm happy with it. If you can be pumped up and full and everything like that, with meals in you, fluid in you, and then still be in shape and everything like that, that's right where you want to be. So I was slightly heavier on this morning than I was the day after. I was 188.6 pounds. Let me just go through these pictures pretty quickly, but obviously you can see a little bit more fullness in the legs, fullness in the chest and shoulders, obviously from that workout. Got some good delt veins going on, everything like that, just from getting a pump. So, it's good. One thing I did not do a very good job of last year, or actually 2 years ago from my last prep, I did not do really much of any pumping up backstage. I didn't want to get over pumped and everything like that. I just wanted to come in just nice and relaxed, and I definitely want to change that for these shows and have a little bit more of a pump, show a bit more fullness. We're going to be hard and dry no matter what I do, so that is one thing I want to change for these shows, make sure I have a little bit more pump before going on stage. So again, you can see the separation on the veins, everything is right where it wants to be. So really happy with this look. If I step on stage looking just like this, I'll be perfectly happy. Training. So we finished the first half of Game of Bond program that I was running. Did the last leg day yesterday, 7 days out, so no more legs until after this show. Today is a total rest day. We even, no cardio, even lowered the step count. Tommy has me doing only 8,000 steps today. I'm used to getting anywhere from average around 12 to 13,000, but easily as high as 15,000 on a lot of days, what I got for a lot of last week. I'm used to just kind of just always being on my feet, always on the move. Keeps me focused. I don't like feeling like I'm just sitting around a lot. So it's a little bit of a challenge today to only get in 8,000 steps, but that's what Coach says, so what we're going to do. For peak week training, volume isn't going to come down a ton, but the intensity is going to. It's really about 70% intensity, so plenty of reps left in the tank. It's really just, enough to get a pump and some blood flow going, so we can see that reflected in the post-workout posing pictures, and that's pretty much it. So tomorrow we're going to have a chest session. It's actually going to be a bit of a chest and biceps. Tuesday, I'm going to train in the morning before heading out to Vegas, a quick back session. Wednesday, delt and arms. Thursday, chest, back, and shoulders. And those are going to be more like 50% intensity, so very, very quick, very light sessions. Not much more than what I would be doing to pump up backstage, honestly. The hotel gym where we're going to be at actually looks pretty decent. I saw some pictures, so might train there. Obviously, we're in Vegas. So there's some good local gyms there, so maybe for one of those sessions, like maybe the Wednesday session, I'll head up to the Dragon's Lair or something like that and do a little bit of touristy thing, buy a t-shirt, something like that. Obviously, the risk with that is that's going to be a really cool gym. I'm going to be tempted to do a little bit too much. So that is something I'm going to keep in mind, just, the psychology of things and not do too much. So I may just completely skip that and just stick to the hotel gym, so that way in and out, not tempted to do anything more than necessary. Cardio, just like everything else, is day to day. If it is in, it's 20 to 25 minutes. Like I said, today, zero cardio. And I'm going to have 20 minutes cardio tomorrow. And everything is just day to day. Tommy sees the pictures in the morning as well as post-workout, and then sends me the next day's things. And then he'll actually be in town with me for a little while during peak week, so he'll actually see me in person. We're going to go probably meal by meal and make adjustments on the fly as we go there. Diet, not much changed here for the past week. The training day and leg day carbs did go up a little bit, around 50 grams. Everything else stayed the same. Food sources, all the exact same for the most part. Only change as far as food sources was for that leg day yesterday. We added in some of the rice cakes that we have on hand. That was pretty much the main change as far as any food sources. And as far as peak week, like I mentioned, there's going to be day to day. We're not going to be doing any crazy large refeeds. It's going to be more of just an extended, gradual carb load, just slowly but surely filling back out. Really avoiding any sort of bloating, anything like that, distension in my midsection. I want to keep that nice and tight. That is one of my strengths. I have a pretty good midsection, pretty good abs, everything like that. So the only carb sources that are going to be added for that are really easily digestible stuff that I've had before. Rice cakes, English muffins, honey, and Rice Krispie treats. The Rice Krispie treats are really more of a show day only thing, backstage, very, very quick digesting, that sort of thing. The only thing I'm not a huge fan of is the rice cakes. Some people absolutely love their rice cakes. They think they are the most amazing things in the world. I'm not a huge fan. I had a couple the other day, like I said, as part of the leg day diet, and they were okay. So we'll get through it. It's part of the plan, so I'm going to do it. And then for this week, completely removing all artificial sweeteners, different sauces, things like that. Not because I have issues with those. I actually tend to have pretty much an iron stomach. I can digest really anything really well. But it is a risk that we don't have to take. You never know when all of a sudden at the very end, hey, it does cause an issue with digestion, and it is not digesting very well. So completely removing those, completely removing that risk. We're going to have some glutamine with every single meal that is good for gut health and everything like that. Again, not because I have those issues, but we're trying to prevent any issues from coming up, especially with the extra carbs that we will be having. We want that digesting very rapidly and getting to where it needs to be, which should be in the muscles and creating glycogen and not sitting in my stomach. Other things that we're doing, throughout peak week, we're going to be using a pretty good amount of vitamin C. It's kind of like a natural diuretic, essentially, so will help flush out a little bit of water. Going to have a couple of grams with that with each meal. Nothing crazy. We're not going to be messing around with any legitimate diuretics, no Diazide or anything like that. At least not that Tommy has mentioned. We never used them before, have never needed them, so the vitamin C should work really well. So that is pretty much it, guys. Really appreciate your time. We'll see how things go in 6 days, and hopefully I'll have a nice recap for you and be talking about some good places and good results. So I will keep you guys updated. And until next time, remember to work, grow, win. Thanks for watching.